Techno Hollywood.
Techno Hollywood.
Yes. Where's the camera? Here.
Episode 5. 1, 2, 3
1, 2, 3,
cameras,
yeah, 1,
2
2, 3.
mics,
Yeah. 2
1
mics.
German, 1 half Moroccan,
Yes.
and
Vietnamese German,
2
I guess.
half Canadians.
Yeah, I guess in a way. Yeah.
You're kind of Canadian.
Yeah. I lived there.
pleasant.
Yeah, that's nice. I've lived in Canada for 3 years, and I had a Canadian green card. So
It's not called a green card in Canada, is
yeah,
it?
I don't know. Like I called it a Canadian green
It
card.
should be a red card. No, but that's too communisty.
It is kind of communist.
Why is it a green card? Was it green? It must have been green at one point.
Must have been green in
Or
the US.
America, the money, the greenback.
It's all about the greens, baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, what happened yesterday? I think obviously we're fresh from the event yesterday.
Yeah,
so we
Pioneer.
can talk about this. I think now we're allowed to talk about this.
Finally.
I am at
It's been
least.
killing me not to talk about the new Pioneer mixer. The CDJ? No, what's it called?
No. The CDJ is the CD
I
player.
know.
The new mixer is called Whoop Whoop Whoop. Drum roll, please. It's called A9,
Yeah.
and it's the successor of the world famous DJM 990 and DJM 900. Sorry.
Right. World famous to 12 people.
Yeah.
No.
And to all the DJs for
Yeah.
sure. not the
Every club,
owners,
right? We
yeah.
kind of talked about this. And we're not being paid to do this. We're just...
We
I'm
hope
a
to be
former
paid.
engineer. Yeah, please pay us. But I'm a former engineer, so I love techie stuff. I recently made our logo spin, which is going to spin it.
Yeah, did you see that?
And Tan was pretty impressed. I thought it was pretty... I wasn't
still
sure if he was
suntan.
going to like it. Sometimes he's hard to please. So.
Yes. No, it's it looked great, and that's the thing. You look at a tutorial nowadays, and you can learn it. So basically, the event was nice. It's the launch officially of the new mixer, and that's because it's a worldwide launch. They haven't updated the old one. They were looking for some artists, right? And because the mixer has a vocal section, they were looking for some female artists, for some artists that sing also. Like DJs generally don't sing. But as I said in the other episode, like they sort of picked Joplyn, which was nice. And shout out to Tom Breuer again and Lars, and they're sort of the guys that hooked it up. And she performed yesterday, and it was in a space kind of cool. Like
Yeah,
I mean,
cool
you can-
downtown. It looked like a space where they shoot music videos or something.
Yeah,
or
it's like a. It
it's
has
like a club, but it seemed like a fake club.
Yeah, no, I think it's officially like a AR, VR, whatever space.
Yeah.
So it's you don't see the endings of
Yeah,
the
the
wall.
walls go like this, so you can shoot. Why does it do
Yeah,
that?
it does it because it's all these photo shoots and video shoots. So you don't see a real ending. You don't see the floor. So you can be in the
so
middle of a room.
There's no break in
There's
between
no break
in the floor and the
that's
wall.
why the floor is sort of curved. That's the reason. And so most of the times they have it in green, so then they can project other stuff too, like all these studios. Yeah. So anyway, so the shooting was there. They put up like crazy visuals. Like it was like a huge LED wall.
The
and-
visuals were insane. They were like top notch.
Yeah, and then basically they had a DJ in the middle, like a DJ booth with the mixer and all the like 10 cameras around it. And we were supposed to like everyone that was invited was like a closed event, 150 people, whatever, was supposed to dance around the DJ. So not stand only like on the dance floor, but also be behind her, like a boiler room scenario. No? And the main artist was Yotto from Finland. Like he's a very big artist and big DJ. So he was the headliner in a way. And the support artist was Joplyn. So that was opening basically.
Yeah.
And it was like everyone played like an hour. So it was kind of and she did the first half, and then he came on later.
Yeah,
and
I was like after 20 minutes opening. I guess maybe it's from comedy or LA. I'm like, oh, she's doing 20, 25 minutes.
No,
But she just did a full hour.
Yeah. Opening in the DJ world is still you do the same set.
You're doing
time.
a full headliner set.
Yeah, you're doing the same length.
Yeah.
And a DJ set is normally, now it's been shortened, but at least it's normally 2 hours nowadays. That's a standard DJ set is 2 hours.
Yeah.
We do, Joplyn does like normally 90 minutes because if you're a live artist, you only play your original music. So you don't play like other people's music like a DJ, and that's why like after 90 minutes of original music, that's like a band like U2 whatever, they play maximum 2 hours, not even,
Right.
So it's you sort of told your story already, and you sort of that's what you're about. People sort of get it, like it's no need to drag it on.
Yeah,
So I
and you're
feel-
doing songs in 3-minute increments, so that's a lot of songs in an hour
Or more
and a half.
in the club world, it's more like 4 or 5 minutes.
That's what I'm saying, but like you two would be doing 3-4 minute songs,
I know, yeah.
and that's so you're like an hour and a half. You're like, all right, I've heard everything.
Yeah. So basically, that was the show. It went really well. she put on a good show, and everyone was happy, and we were hanging out with the Pioneer people. It's gonna be presented by Mixmag, which is like a big, I think it's Mixmag UK, big magazine, blog, whatever you call it. It started out as a magazine, I'm sure.
Yeah,
now
you used
it's
to get it at A&B Sound or whatever.
There you go. Now it's all about
Virgin Megastore.
Now it's like a online thing. Obviously,
that was a dream to be in Mix or Mixmag or like these are like,
of course, like all the big magazines.
Yeah.
But they're now like basically websites, and they're also
blogs,
like
I guess.
Blogs in a way. If that word feels old now, right? A blog. Like,
a blog, a video, a vlog. I guess if they better have some sort of Instagram page.
Yeah. Here is it. It's basically they have, I think, 1 million subscribers on YouTube. So it's become
YouTube
like
channel.
a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It's like basically.
It's amazing that all the platforms just went to old media and just waited. They just kind of waited, and all old media had to be like, all right, we'll make a page. All right, and now their business is just being a cog in the other guy's business.
Yeah.
And they just became bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, you just gotta you fed
and now you
the
have
machine.
to play. Yeah, the machine. But you sent me that great YouTube video about like the stages where first it was like the platforms got built, like the Facebook and the TikTok and all the platforms. And now it's like the creators on top of that.
Yeah, no, and then after it was social media. So it was basically small, like first were the platforms, the Google, the Apples. And then it sort of went down to the social media
Social media on top of that,
And so and now it's going down to the next, so to the individual creator. That's where the value is sort of created, because so it's...
And it was talking about like the first $1 billion creators like Mr. Beast, et cetera, who are going to be like... just as big as the platform almost. And you can tell, like I started noticing like, oh, YouTube's like own videos where it has, because they have tutorials that they make, they look like Mr. Beast videos. Like so like the font, so it's like the snake is eating the tail.
Yeah, so it's full circle for them. So the event was really fun. Also, we invited a lot of friends, a lot of the German expat community came out. Joplyn's friend.
I love the German crew.
Yeah, they're funny. Yeah, and then
they're so tall.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah.
I'm pretty tall, but like when the Germans come around, I'm kind of short.
Yeah, but the Dutch are the tallest.
Yeah, they're tall and pleasant, and then they're very engaging.
Yeah,
you get about like 20 minutes in English, and then it's full German.
Yeah, but everyone tries. You know, like if there's someone in the room that doesn't speak German.
Yeah.
And then, but at some point it just flips. But then the nice Germans try again, like to incorporate. To basically to incorporate English. So no one feels left out.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's an exciting thing for us with the whole show, because that's why Joplyn was rehearsing a lot before, because they have this platform now. I think it's 1 million subscribers, and Pioneer has all these social media platforms too. So meaning like they recorded a set, they're gonna cut out a segment where she's basically doing all working with all the features on the mixer, and I think that's gonna get pushed out hopefully to all to the right people. And because of it's club music, it's Pioneer, it's DJ World. For us, that's very important, because it's like 100% target audience.
Yeah, new fans who want to be her.
Exactly, ideally, and also, but just people interested in club culture and electronic music are hopefully all gonna hear about the new mixer, but also in relation with her, because she's almost presenting it, and also Yotto, of course. So I think let's see what kind of an impact that has. Like as a manager, I always feel like, okay, what can you do organically to sort of push the brand and get the brand in front of the right people? That's basically always what it's about.
They were shooting it so well already, like what they had, because they had the camera guys around her, and they were shooting her, and that was projected onto the screen sometimes in between her own artwork. But when they cut to I'm a former technical guy, so I'm at the show. I'm like watching the sound guy, I'm watching the video guy, I'm watching the people react. It's like I was working but not getting paid. Yeah. And then
always.
Life in LA. So then you would see what they would project onto the screen, and it already looked like a Pioneer commercial. I was like, oh, this is what they're going to cut into the commercial. It looked great.
I guess, yeah. But I think hopefully they're not going to, that's the whole thing. Like, you don't want to have it look like a commercial. So it basically feels like a natural thing, like when they put it out on, it's not like, hey, I'm Joplyn, this is the new
it wasn't
mixer.
cheesy. It was just, it felt like it was a good representation of how the mixer, and who knows, they might cheese it up. But from what was shown there, it was a good representation of like the mixer was there, she was there, and it was cool.
Yeah, so...
And honestly, if I didn't know the behind the scenes, the BTS... wait, BTS is the group too, right?
Yeah.
Does it stand for behind the scenes?
I don't know.
What does it stand for?
I have no idea, actually. We should look it up.
Boys to...
I don't know.
School? What does BTS mean?
I don't know. Like, we'll find out. We'll put it. Tell us, please.
BTS, the biggest band in the world, and like we're just like, yeah, we'll just take those letters.
I guess, yeah. I've never thought about that because I'm also not a big fan. But anyways, yeah.
Anyway, so she's shooting the BTS. Since I know the behind the scenes that it is a pioneer event, but if I didn't, I'd just be like, oh, they're shooting cool content.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like it was very cool brand, not obviously branded. It was like at a cool location. They invited selected people, so it felt like a real party and stuff. And we can also link up to the video so you guys can check it out.
Yeah, I was definitely a lot of people wearing black. I had a beige coat, and I added the most color to the entire room. Yeah,
I went trying the whole Berlin black thing. I guess it's a thing for me. It's just at this point it's just practical to wear black because it's like everything is just black.
But New York black is the original black, right? New York black.
Yeah,
remember Jackie? She was always New York black.
Yeah. I think it's from the 80s, and I guess that whole new wave scene and stuff. Like I think like everyone, or the punks, everyone was trying just because it's leather jacket, it makes it tough and it's unique, and it's always and in a way it's also classic, you know, like an artist, a friend of mine said, like, if the second they invent something darker than black, then I'll wear that, but for now I'll just wear black, you know, like.
Shout out to Jackie was actually someone Town and I both rented a room off in New York at different times. And this is like before Venmo, before anything. I was in Canada. I just like found someone on Craigslist. This is how insane it used to be. I mailed her a check and like hoped for the best. She's like, and then I showed up and I was at an apartment. You're like, wow, times have changed.
Before Airbnb and
yeah,
all
now
that
we take like now if you want to go to like a new city, like you can. It's so easy.
It's easy, but there are scammers. A friend of mine just got scammed here in LA with an Airbnb. I don't know exactly what happened, but I think the apartment was not there, or was totally different. And you can sort of try to report all that stuff, but it takes ages to get your money back in a way.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, I think it
was cool to come though. Thanks for inviting me, and it was a nice 90-minute set of which I lasted 70 minutes.
Yeah, that's good.
And it's pretty good for me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a weird schedule where I wake up at 6:30. So like around 10, I'm like, all right, this is
you're tired.
I was like, I went out of the house. I'm like, we're going to go out. We're going to go to the Joplyn thing. Then we're going to go after somewhere.
Yeah, we went for dinner and stuff.
And then I was like, that's not going to happen.
And also we wanted to have like more active people dance on camera.
Yeah.
You were hiding in the back. Yeah.
Well, I saw the young people on camera and like dancing. I'm like, I didn't want to ruin any of their shots. And like,
who's the weird guy in the back?
But what's funny is there was someone dressed exactly like me with the same coat.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, dancing behind her.
Yeah.
Like he had the exact same coat.
Yeah, I saw him. Yeah.
And so now there's going to be two guys standing with the exact same beige coat behind Joplyn. It's just the whole thing is going to be ruined.
Yeah. Thank God that you stayed out of the picture.
I mean, I would have added some amazing dancing to the evening.
The old school break dancing. Anyways,
and
then this
YMCA.
week, what happened this week? Yeah, we went to, this was last week. We went to there was the Freeze Art Festival here in LA. Yeah. Right? And there were a bunch of parties and events.
Which I heard about from Benji Grimberg because I was hanging out with him on his birthday.
It's a big art festival.
And I didn't know what it was. He was going, and then you mentioned it, and then that's
Shiro mentioned it.
Shiro mentioned it. All of our people mentioned it, but we didn't go to it. We went to the. I took Tan for an American experience. He wanted to go out for dinner, but somewhere casual where there's lots of people. And like you feel like you're out, but you're not. I'm like, let's go to Barney's Beanery.
And I'm like, what's that? And then I looked it up on Google and this looks kind of weird, but then it also looked like fun.
Yeah, and it was like, I could tell it probably wasn't like your choice you would make on your own. No. But we had a great time. It was like lots of people around. They're playing pool. It was the NBA All-Star game, so it was packed.
And it had all these typical diner booths like that you have in America, you know? And
everyone's gonna think they got a message at that point in the pod. It's not your phone.
I got a message from Marcus Waters. Shout out,
Marcus. There was the booth I pointed out where Tarantino wrote Pulp Fiction.
Exactly.
Allegedly.
And that was like basically good to know because you need, I think, like you need some sort of isolation to be creative, and I think it's a typical thing where people like they sit in a coffee place, like from old German poets to now Tarantino. You would sit there 4 or 5 hours a day and just write, and just be in the middle of a coffee place or like a restaurant and just write.
And you got to get out of your house because when you're in your house, it's like, oh, then you got like, oh, maybe I should throw in some laundry in between writing and this, and you're like, no, your whole vibe is shot.
And sometimes it feels like you're even more creative sitting between people. You would think like you get distracted, but sometimes if you put on headphones, it's like something you do, and then everyone's sort of working away, and then you feel. I get some of the times I get more stuff done like just putting on headphones and being in a coffee spot and just working away, I don't know how.
This makes me want Barney's Beanery. We should go after. And they redid the menu, and it was all awesome food.
Better food than I thought.
Right.
And also then some other German friends came by and they're like, oh my God, this is good. And then everyone's like, this is the Tarantino table. And everyone's like, wow, what? And then they took pictures of
everyone
the
thinks
table.
These two girls sitting at the booth are celebrities now because all these 3 Germans are like filming them and like taking and like touching the booth. The girls like, get out of here.
And he wrote Pulp Fiction there, right? So
that's what I heard. I mean, that's from my friend Sam, who he's one of those guys who just knows everything about everything.
No, I can totally see that. I mean, we're talking now, what, 20 years or no, 30 years ago.
1994, so probably written in 1992.
Yeah, that's basically 30 years ago.
Wow.
When
all those movies still stand up. I go on Tarantino marathons all the time where I just throw them all on.
I still want to go to his theater.
We should do that.
While I'm still here,
Let's do a midnight screening of Pulp Fiction.
Oh, I haven't seen it in a while. I think that's
perfect.
It's going to be fun.
Done.
And then what else did we do that day? Barney's Beanery was fun. And then, so I went also, was it 2 days ago? So friends of mine here that we're probably one day going to have on the podcast too, like Malte and Christian from California Music. They moved out here 10 years ago or over, like I think longer at this point. They do film music, they do music for advertising, but also for series and stuff. And they just scored a movie called Wade in the Water. And it's basically, it's also Black History Month, but it was kind of interesting and actually mind-blowing and also very emotional to see it. So what it is basically it's
that's a song, right?
I think it's a spiritual song. It's like an old I guess old slave spiritual song. And what it is basically the whole it's a documentary, like it's about black surfing, and it's a history of basically black people in Africa already being like really close to water, to surfing. And then it was also about like a dark history of U.S. Of the U.S. history of it, because it's like really systemic racism to try to get black people away from the beach, because they were like in all these Santa Monica and all these beach spots here in L.A. There was a surf culture there. There were like really known black surfers like hundreds of years ago, and then they systematically like shut down beach clubs that were owned by black people, and they didn't want black people by the beach because the beach properties got more and more valuable. So for me, it was like heartbreaking. Where I was like, "Wow, this is so." I mean, it ended on a very positive note because there's more and more black surfing coalitions now. Like there's a whole new generation that sort of grows up and supports each other, and it's all about black surfing, which is fun because you don't associate black people with surfing, which is what the documentary is trying to sort of tell the story that
the original surfers.
They're actually the original surfers,
Wow. Yeah. And there was that thing, I think, in Manhattan Beach where they had given some land back that was taken.
Exactly. That was in the documentary too. That was just part of it. But it's a bigger story, like about the whole history of just water and Africa and
they did the scoring.
And they did the scoring. They did really good because you can do surf music, but you can do it's like to score a 60-minute movie or documentary is a lot of work.
Right.
Try thinking of like a 3-minute song. Okay, that's a whole different thing. But to create emotions, to do something to picture for like 60 minutes, that's a tough job. And they did it like fairly fast because it had to go to all these film festivals, and it was a sold out show. They did it at the Patagonia store in Santa Monica. It was fully sold out. It was super emotional. People were crying and stuff. It was it was deep.
Did you cry?
Not me personally, but Germans have no feelings. Just kidding.
But all the speaking of Pulp Fiction, like that intro song, that's all surf music.
Yeah, that's all old school.
So like Tarantino kind of popularized that kind of like
Western music.
But what's interesting is he's like, I hate surfing, but I love the music. And that became that huge Black Eyed Peas song, the Get Whatever.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
or whatever it was.
There was I forgot the name of the song too, but it was a big,
party, something with partying, and
something with party,
and Will.i.am dancing, and some other guy with long hair doing nothing.
Exactly. Hey, come on.
Well, what does he do?
Yeah, no, he raps sometimes. Like he has an 8-bar.
Yeah, they give him 4.
Yeah, okay. And there's the other guy, the Asian guy, Apple. You know, like
Apple.
half Asian, half Filipino.
Apple came to the original Comedy Bunker at the that it started, and he was sitting in the front row. Yeah. And this comedian who's super funny, Osama Siddiqui, he's doing his act, and he's like, "You look like Apple from Black Eyed Peas," and he's like ripping on him. and then later, I was talking to him at the bar. And he's like, "Yeah, that was funny. I was making fun of that guy. He really looked like Apple." I was like, "Yo, that was Apple." And he's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I gotta go apologize to him." And he like ran and chased him down.
That's crazy. So yeah, and then the Barnary and the Wade in Water. What I think. Because we're gonna, as it looks like, gonna have a special guest on soon, like our first guest. We don't wanna. You're probably gonna guess who it is, but I can.
We're gonna tell you.
I want to talk about this sort of the story behind it, because the reason, as I said, we're here right now. Me and Joplyn, the artist, the singer, the producer, the DJ, and everything. Like so. The reason for German artists is kind of course, hard to be able to tour here in the US and to sort of get some shows here and to have like some all this in a way interest and to sort of build a career. And the way it started, I think like people are quite interested. Obviously, like how did she already play like 2-3 mini tours in the US? How did this happen? Because she just started the project.
Like, how do you get the audience? Because everyone's mind. And it was really interesting to talk to. The booker from Sound Club, the buyer,
the booker,
and he's like everyone's focused on audience building. So like, how do you? So we would love to hear like, how does she come to the U.S. from Germany and have the audience to do any sort of tour?
Yeah. So basically, I'll have to sort of rewind a little bit.
Yeah, go.
Like, so basically, what we did, like maybe, I would say now it's almost 2 years ago. She basically said, okay, you know what? We're going to just start the project really and focus on it. And the key was because you should lead with the music. That's what I always say. Like everything, I mean, some managers or some artists, they start with social media first and all that stuff. But for me as a musician and for her, I think it's all about still the music, thank God, thankfully. So basically what we did, we released 1 song a month for like at least starting 21 or something for at least a year, and literally nothing happened. Like,
on schedule, like you're like that was your plan. One song a month. This is our plan.
Exactly, like 1 song a month. Every we already recorded a few more, of course, but then every month we would pull on because there was sort of the rhythm to do it, and then like we literally had like 100 streams or something in the first song, and then it just kept building a little bit. The social media, then we're like, how do we connect it? Then she started doing she's like, okay, how do we speak? What's her voice on social media to communicate? And she was like, okay, like how about I'll do some studio jams, So and then basically we started. She just put up one camera actually and started to jam around in the studio or like show a little bit about the creative process, meaning like she program a beat or play some keys, sing on top of it, But also very small numbers, nothing happened. One of the key things that sort of happened then after 1 year, she did another studio jam. You never know how these things go, and she had a kick running and like played some chords and was sort of sing-sang, almost rapping over it. And then she had the idea, like always like hustling. She's like, okay, you know what? She uses an Akai keyboard. She uses some of the equipment, and she just said tag the companies into the video.
Yeah.
And I think she even sent the video to Akai.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, she woke up. All of a sudden it was like thousands of views on the video, and like there were like hundreds of more followers. We're like, what happened? And basically, Akai took the video and put it up on their socials because they liked it. But even on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. and that was good. We got the right followers, and then the interesting part, like she got her first sync deal with Netflix out of that.
Well, someone from Netflix saw the...
No, like a film composer. Turns out, like later, it actually turned out that I actually knew the guy, but he follows Akai because he's like a tech producer and everything,
right.
and he saw it. He's like, oh, this is cool. This is exactly the vibe, the artist I was looking for that one movie that he's scoring for Netflix, and he was reaching out, and then she ended up we did a couple songs, and I think 2, if I'm not mistaken, were taken then for the Netflix movie TV series. It was a German Netflix thing called We Are the Wave, based on an old German movie.
Is it?
Was.
Is that the English title, or they
I think that was the English title.
What's the German title?
Die Welle.
Die Welle. That sounds more. Yeah, that sounds more interesting.
And it was an old movie that they remade into a series. So they used one of her songs.
Is that The Wave?
We Are the Wave. I think the Wave. Yeah.
Yeah, the Wave. Yeah. Okay.
So that was exciting for us because you never know what can happen, but all you got to do is like just got to walk out there and do it. And so we had our first little sync thing. We went to the movie premiere, all that stuff. So then things started to progress. The numbers got a little bit bigger, but still not like anything substantial. And then like the first little other labels, like club labels, contacted us. And we got to give a big shout out here to Watergate and the Watergate crew and the Watergate Records. And it's a club in Berlin.
Like a lot of water themes today. The wave, the beach, Die Welle.
Die Welle, yeah, it's a be water, my friend. Yeah. And Bruce Lee, and then so basically they reached out to us. We released a song on Watergate Records, and that song then was picked up for a bigger playlist on Spotify, and called Electronic Rising. And then the same sort of that same week, Pete Tong also chose the song as a essential tune of the week. And Pete Tong is like one of the most, if not the most influential radio guy with their own show for like, I don't know, the last, I guess, 20 years or something, for electronic music on Radio 1, BBC UK, because it's been listened to worldwide. He also picked one of the songs, which was a big thing. And then he also said like she could be the future rising star or something. And then in the next week, basically, we like Joplyn, she came to be like, hey, someone wrote me on Instagram. I'm like, what? Like, I think it's a US agent or something. I'm like, oh, let me see. And it was literally our now agent, shout out Ferry, he basically sliding into her DMs like, hi, like very casual. I'm an agent. I work for this company, and
this company, just the biggest one.
You should tell your manager to contact us.
Oh, very professional.
Very professional. Yeah. Tell your manager to contact us. This is my email.
Yeah.
A couple days later, similar situation. The William Morris people also reached out.
Yeah.
Like within a week, and we're like, okay, wow, what's going on? This is end of 21. We're like, and then basically we had over Christmas we had all these talks to these agencies, and for the people out there who don't like, these are like global talent agencies. Like I think CAA is now the biggest because they bought another one, but there's like William Morris, CAA, Wasserman, and UTA, and all these global, and they basically manage and book talent, not only music, but it could be directors, film, movie stars,
anyone who needs
sports,
anything done in Hollywood as an agent. Yeah.
So we entertained talks with them. They came up with different plans, or like how to sort of build, like we're talking now, to build the brand or to build the artists in the States, but also globally. And we were like thrilled and to even talk with these people, and then we decided for CA. It was just a natural fit because some of the artists on their roster were already people that we are familiar with, that we work with, like Jan Blomqvist, Monolink, Paul Kalkbrenner, Rufus Du Sol, all that sort of team. And then we basically buckled down, did the album. And then it was all about like, hey, let's test the waters. Let's try to see if there's an audience here in the States for her. And the way to do it, you don't start with like a headlining ticket, hard ticket show or whatever. You start like being a support artist, of course. You start at the opening slot for a bigger artist. You test out the waters. You try to gain fans. So that's why last summer, 2020, we did our first little US tour, and she'll talk about this in detail.
On our interview next week.
On our interview next week, yes, potentially. It's a big surprise.
Yeah.
And so basically, it was like we did the first few shows, the sort of the feel, the sound, and because she's singing, it brought something else to the table, I think, and that's why people were curious. And a lot of promoters gave us a chance. That's what it's about. Like, CA has these relations, but then you also need the promoters to give you a chance to be like, hey, this looks interesting. This sounds cool. Let's give this artist a chance to open up, and then to see if she's gonna grow and if it's a fit. And so I think that was like the way to do it. I mean, I'm very aware that this is not the normal way, obviously, because normally you build in Europe first. Or in your country first, let's say in Germany, then you try to build Europe.
You chart over there, and then you bring the whole thing as a more finished product.
Yeah, exactly. Then
it's almost like she's making it in the US first.
Yeah,
in a way,
no, yes and no.
Like if you think about the trajectory of she's early stage career, like she's in the US very early.
I know, yeah, that's true. Yeah, so basically we're trying to navigate those two worlds and basically be in Europe and in the States at the same time, which is like a double stress and double effort, but I think eventually this will be good because these are very key music markets. Obviously,
right.
I think they're obviously the biggest. US is still the biggest music market, but then Europe as a total is of course very relevant. Like the UK, France, Germany, obviously, and Italy.
Ibiza.
Ibiza has its own market, obviously. We sort of.
But you can't compete with like the sheer number of people that are in the US. So like when you have 350-ish million, something like that, it's just a lot more people.
So basically, like once sort of word gets around here and you build,
and that makes it cooler back there too,
exactly,
right?
Yeah. So for some people, and I'm sure in Europe, it doesn't make it cooler if you're big in the US. But for some people, it's still like the number one music. I think there's something to say about an artist especially if you're in Europe, because we grew up in Europe, like with having all these big artists from the States and from England. If you sort of like if you're big in the States, or like you're gonna have an impact in Europe because it's still sort of like it's the biggest music market.
It's the biggest exporter of culture too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They know how to. It's always that Coca-Cola story, right? Like they know how to make Coca-Cola, but then also to market Coca-Cola worldwide.
I mean, think about the device you're holding in your phone, American iPhone.
Yes,
the cars
made in China.
But they're not exporting the culture of China; they're exporting the culture of America.
Yeah, that's true.
And the same with now the biggest car in the world is going to be Tesla.
Yeah,
exporting from America the culture of that, which is also a similar aesthetic as the iPhone, that minimalist Silicon Valley, touch screen vibe, which is really taken over the world.
Yeah, it's so crazy. So that's why it's exciting for us now with the to come back to the Joplyn story to see how this how we basically trying to navigate those two markets, and without losing our heads, and then try to make time for the US, to try to invest time here, to be here. I think like there's a saying, and it's so true. I feel like out of sight, out of mind here in the US. Like if you're basically outside, and then you also told me like if you text someone, you have to be able to basically to reach someone by text, and if the text is not blue, you're screwed. Like talk about this.
I mean, this is a common thing. Like think about it. Like so we all have those. Of course, it's elitist. Yeah. But the iPhone is an elitist product.
I guess. Yeah.
But we all have those friends. Like I can count the phones I know from my friends who are on Android. Like I know them. It's like Sam, and then
you're calling them out. Nice.
That's it. Every other friend, they're no longer my friends. I'll keep a couple that are important. But if you switch to Android, like you're losing out. You're not in the group chats.
No,
you can't get a photo properly. It's all a mess.
I mean, I feel in Europe it's different.
But you got WhatsApp. You got me into WhatsApp.
Yeah,
which
because
is also
on WhatsApp it's more equal. Like you can be on a WhatsApp with an iPhone and an Android phone. I only also know one person really that doesn't have an iPhone, is on Android.
Who?
Her name is Amo. Shout out
so it's
to
Amo and Sam, and that's it. Everyone else is
But she has an iPhone too. Like she has both in a way.
Because she doesn't want to feel excluded.
Yeah, I guess, but she loves her Android. I'm trying to convince her.
That's the thing. They're brainwashed. Once you go Android, it's like it's hard to go back.
Yeah, but I also feel we're brainwashed into the Apple
we are
universe, obviously.
I actually thought about today. I was like, should my next computer be a PC? because you get all the. I know. Look at that face he gave me. Just saying the words, I feel dirty. But Adobe, all that stuff you can get on PC. It's like, I don't know.
I guess yeah, but
then once something goes wrong on Windows, I'm screwed. It's like a C prompt is blue. Bill Gates' face comes on, and you're just like, I don't know what to do. I can fix any Apple. Like I know it inside out.
So
there's a Genius Bar.
We also thought about like should we introduce some?
Yeah, we're gonna start having segments in the podcast where we talk about. So we have 2 segments that we've came up with. Today we're gonna debut the first one.
Okay.
Which is German English.
Yes.
Also known as German for Dummies.
Yeah.
So
the segment is called German English, and we had the one last. Just to give an example, last week or last time it was the restfat.
So we come up with words that are like German words that.
If you translate them literally, like they sound kind of weird.
They sound interesting, but they're actually very informative. So restfat was one when I was talking with Tan, and we're talking about working out, and he's like, "Yeah, I've been really good with this fasting, but I still have a little bit of rest fat." And I was like, "Rest fat? It just makes so much sense." And I was like, "Is that a German word?"
And he's like, "Here's another one here." So segment officially,
German English.
German English officially. The segment. Here's another word for you. I say the German word first, and then I'll do the English one. And the German word is HipGold. And
it's already funny.
And the English translation would be HipGold, meaning, of course, it's the rest fat again. It's basically the on your hips that you have the rest, a little bit of fat, the gold left, basically.
Oh, it's still fat.
It's still fat.
I thought it's something for wealth. Like this is how you carry your money. Your wallet is your hip gold.
No, hip gold is basically still.
You're stealing gold you're smuggling gold out of Germany.
Yeah, no, it's basically still the rest fat. No, so it's another word for rest fat would be hip gold.
So Germans don't like this. Is that positive or negative? Is it like, oh, look,
in a way to make it sort of cute, I guess, or something, but no one likes it, but it's to sort of make it funny.
Attractive.
It's not attractive. No, everyone's sort of trying to get rid of the rest fat or the hip gold. Yeah. I think there's even a fashion brand called HipGold or HipGold.
I think I'd want, say, Hüftgold?
HipGold.
Hüftgold.
I mean, in English, I guess it's the love handles.
Yeah.
That's something.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so HipGold would be the love handles.
I did the first Duolingo for German, and there's a lot of words that are just like gold. It's like you just kind of say it weirdly.
Yeah,
gold.
I mean, it's funny that you're getting into German now. So this segment where you can hang soon.
Yeah. I was actually yesterday when everyone went to German. I was listening and I was like, oh, I can hear all the different words, right? Yeah. Which is, I think, the first part of like hearing a new language. It's not just like gibberish. Yeah. I know like the in-between words and the some words, and I'm like, okay, there's enough where I can discern the conversational style, but then I just don't know all the words.
Yeah, so... Yeah, but I mean, it's probably one of the toughest languages to learn.
I would disagree.
Really?
Well, I already have French, and that's a hard one. French is a very hard one.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, French is hard. The grammar, but German grammar is it's so exact. You have, I think, so many different words in German to describe something.
Yeah,
it's
but
crazy.
the masculine, feminine, that's a French thing as well.
Yeah.
Where so it's. I don't know. I did the first one, and I did pretty good.
Okay, good.
And then my son walked in. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing." He's like, "I want to learn." I'm like, now him and I are just walking around the house speaking German, worrying about our rest fat
and the HipGold. Okay, so
and we're gonna have another segment. I guess we'll talk about it, but we don't have one today. But it's gonna be called "Ha."
Yeah, where we look at my face like this. Huh?
Because Tan, that's inspired by Tan, because he's like, what is this guy doing? And we get annoyed by different things in life, as we all do. So we're going to talk about the things that were like, why would this person do that? Or like
it's like a WTF, but it's like the German version, right?
Yeah, a more polite version.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Do Germans say the word "ha"?
Yeah, for sure. Like it's like, huh?
Okay.
Like this is okay.
That was
the
perfect
German
face right there, because you didn't do it for the camera.
Exactly.
But it was like the best, most recent version is, I don't know if we talked about this, but when we got locked out of the parking lot.
Oh my God, yeah, that was a ha.
That was a ha. Like we went, got a salad. We had the parking ticket, which I lost. I think I threw it in the trash by accident. And then and this is free parking, free for an hour parking. So we come out and they're like, yeah, you need a ticket. I was like, yeah, I just went in there. Here's our receipt. And the guy's like, no, you got to pay $39.
Yeah.
And we're like, what? He's like, but it's free. And he's like, yeah, you got to pay $39.
Yeah, if you lose your ticket, you got to pay, although it's a free parking.
Yeah.
lot.
So anyway, so we get over that annoyance. We hand him the card. The machine won't take the card.
Yeah.
And now he's like, won't let us out of the building.
And there's a line behind us.
There's a line
people
behind
honking.
us.
Like it's getting
He's
hectic.
like, do you have cash? I'm like, no, we don't have cash. And he's like, well, you can't get out. And so we're like, what do we do? And then Tan's like, let's go get this. So we approach this other person coming in. They're like, hey, can you just give us your ticket and then go around? This guy's like blocking this whole parking lot. And so that worked. She gave us a ticket, thankfully. We scanned it and left, and I'm never going back.
I know we gamed the system, but
we gamed the system, but like I couldn't believe like what they were doing. It was just the most stubborn thing. And to have a free parking lot where you lose $5, cool. 10, all right, annoying. 20, super annoying. 39 is just offensive.
It's and the funny thing is, like, we were also trying to scrape off leftover tickets.
Oh yeah, we're picking up leftover. We're trying to get out of this parking lot, and we want to pay, but like. So it was just
like
the
you
most...
were ready to pay $39, basically.
I handed him the card. I'm like, we got to go. We can't just stay here. And it was annoying.
I was like, no, don't. And then let's, because I'm trying to be German efficient.
Yeah.
And then we picked up some other parking tickets, but they didn't work too. And then it was a big mess, but then we got out
I felt like I was 20, like just figuring out a way to like...
And the guy could have just opened it up.
Yeah.
You know, like at the thing. Anyways.
So that's a ha moment. It's
a ha moment. It's also Germans complaining.
That could be it's ha, also known as Germans complaining.
Yeah.
Do Germans complain a lot?
I feel Germans complain a lot. And
is that once I learn German, that's what I'll be
exactly. What you're listening to, I should have never learned the language because all you're going to hear is like Germans.
I do notice that when you guys start talking, when you switch to German, it's about a complaining something.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
because you don't want to complain in English.
Yeah, it's a thing for sure. Like the Germans complaining. Like if you talk to Germans that left Germany that are out here, and they still complain because they complain about Germans complaining. You know?
They're like, wow, they complain about the Germans they know who still complain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I see still complaining about the grumpy old guy, in Germany, but they're complaining about the guy complaining. So, anyways.
Yeah, because when we were at the Holloway house, I noticed you guys there was one person sitting at a table taking up 4 seats, and there was 4 of us and one guy. And your friend went over to them and is like, hey, is anyone sitting here? He's like, yeah. But there was obviously no one sitting there. And then he switched to German to talk to you, but I'm like, oh, he's complaining about that.
Yeah, of course he was. And we have a German friend that also in a situation like this, he would just go over and say like, okay, he's a big guy. He's like, it's time for you to leave. And the people would be shocked some of the times. But he means it. And he says, just a joke. But then the people are so scared, they normally get up and leave.
It's like Inception.
Exactly. So you sort of premeditate, like you throw it out there and then see what happens, but he's intense.
I think that's a really true thing. If you give someone an idea, it germinates in the back of their mind.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I think it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Just like this podcast, I incepted you with it, and now look at you.
Yeah. Now I'm stuck here every week.
You're stuck here for the rest of your life. 52 episodes a year.
No, but from the feedback that we're getting so far, it's really nice because obviously this is really leaving the comfort zone.
Yeah.
This is getting out there, putting yourself out there, talking about the process and the stories. And I feel, but it's also fun. I always feel like more up and more inspired.
It's energizing.
It's energizing. Yeah. After the pod talk, it's like we're like, hey, let's go.
Let's go eat.
Exactly. Which we should do slowly.
Yeah, we got to add more restgold.
No. Yeah. So it's definitely leaving the comfort zone. That's what it's about sometimes. Yeah.
It's like it's not draining. Like it takes a lot of energy to think about doing it, but once you start and do it, you're like, I'm so glad I did that. Now it's done, and that's everything with the podcast is like that. You're like, oh, I don't want to edit it. But then the second you edit it, you're like, yes. You're like, I don't want to make a clip, and then you post the clip and it does well. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a validation thing, obviously. Like, and all of us want to have that dopamine hit of something, And here's another, because I think that's what it's about. Like, it's all about giving out some nuggets here and there too. So I came across another one. I feel like
nuggets is a good segment.
Yeah, nuggets.
So nuggets, and German English.
Yeah. So here's a nugget. So basically, if you like every artist or creative person, you're gonna be like a hot new thing at some point, but at some point you're gonna get cold again, like, because you can't be the new hot thing on the block all the time. So it's about like, you're gonna have a streak where everything feels like, okay, like everyone's it's gonna get a little colder, and what do you do in this cold streak and in this cold phase? It's basically like you inform yourself, and you basically remove yourself a little bit, and then do something else, like go to a museum, listen to other types of music, meet up with other creators, like use the time to not stress yourself to constantly be creative, and just fill the well, I guess. And I always call, like, you need to have input to be able to output, so basically I think that's so if you feel a little bit cold in a way and you're not the hot thing right now, just relax,
enjoy
life, live life, experience life. You need something to talk about as a creative, I guess.
They talk about that a lot with comedians. If you don't experience enough life, your comedy ends up being about doing comedy, being on the road, being on airplanes, and you don't have any life to add to that story.
That's why, that's what you said. Like, most stand-up comedians, they sort of become really big when they're older, right? Because they have like more life experience. Like, I mean, look at Louis C.K. He became big in his 40s or something.
Late 30s, early 40s.
Or you're super young and you're just like a genius, like
Eddie Murphy. He was like. Eddie Murphy is delirious. He's like 22.
It's crazy.
He's so mature, and like, you're just like, wow.
Yeah. So there's of course the exceptions. But
the Pete Davidsons. It's the people who are like, oh, you're instantly a star. Or just people. It's just like a lifetime.
Who grind it out and they basically accumulate more knowledge. And
Totally.
But that's definitely a nugget. Like, you gotta have input
to have output.
To have output.
It's very computer science. Data in, data out.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that, like, Germany's not known for computers.
No,
you'd think it'd be very like
it's known for more German engineering.
Yeah, but not
machine
but not
engineering.
Software.
Not software. No, and there's a big thing. But like, I think in Germany, compared
SAP, I think is German.
SAP is German. But they that's software solutions.
That's
I guess.
like the enterprise accounting software. Very German.
Very German. Accounting and numbers. But it's not. It's not like it's so sad. Actually, we have one of the slowest and shittiest internet connections in Europe and in the world, I guess, because it's like no one basically invested in real cable internet and a fast internet, and there was some rules, there was some deals going. I don't know exactly, but there were some deals with some big TV stations. They sort of like, we'll do this whole cable thing later, and that's why it got stuck on some old technology for years. That's why we're so behind on like fast, high-speed internet.
Like not cellular, like to the house internet.
Yeah, to the house internet, exactly.
Wow.
Like, and
does it come through the phone line or the cable?
Yeah, it comes through the phone line cable, but the cable system is so old that there's a top speed of like, I think 50 Mbit or something. It's ridiculous.
So you come here and the internet's fast.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some exceptions. There's also 1,000 Mbit now in Germany, in some spaces, but generally, like, the internet is really bad.
Wow, because T-Mobile's German.
Yeah, T-Mobile's German, and it had something to do with an old cable net deal that someone cut that sort of lagged the whole thing 10, 20 years behind, and that's what it feels like. Like, there's countries like so-called second world countries somewhere in the east or whatever.
Korea
they
internet.
have like high-speed internet. It's amazing how fast it is.
I downloaded like a 5 gig movie for the plane at the airport in Korea, just on their public Wi-Fi in like 20 minutes.
Wow.
It was like
on the phone, even on the Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. I just connected the phone to the Wi-Fi, not cellular Wi-Fi, but just like airport Wi-Fi, which is not.
Yeah,
here.
everyone uses.
You get on the LAX airport Wi-Fi. Good luck.
Your phone crashes.
Yeah, because it's being watched. But it was.
It's fast in Korea. So, I've never experienced it, but
see, that is interesting. That they're very like, and maybe that's why they're not so electric car. They're like they're stuck in the old way of like mechanical engineering.
Mechanical engineering. That's
which I love, by the way. I love physical objects. I love gas cars.
So that's what German, it's all physical machine engineering, but it's not software. And also like, so and the internet is very slow, and also they're very, which is good and bad, I guess. They're very, they don't want to give out very private. Mm-hmm. So it's not about like, hey, here's the internet privacy laws are really high in Germany. So like you just like people are really scared to give out their information.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's the country with the biggest physical cash.
Like in the mattress
system still, yeah. Because like here, I feel like no one carries cash. Even after the pandemic, even less like carries cash.
Oh, cash is over now.
Cash is over. Like in some countries, like in Scandinavia, I think there's also no more cash. In Germany, Germans love their cash because
they love the euros.
They love I mean, euros are all over Europe, obviously, but they love their cash because they want to be able to pay with cash. And cash is anonymous. It's private. Exactly. That's the reason. And also like, it just gives you, it's also not a big credit system because it's like no one, like in Germany, you're not supposed to be in debt and have credit.
Right.
Like it's better to not use your credit card. It's basically, what you're going to pay and you're not just using your credit card. It's responsible. Like it's a bad thing to have debt in Germany,
Right.
Which is totally the opposite here in the US. The whole system runs on debt.
Right. I think Germany was one of the first countries that had negative interest rates.
Yeah.
Whereas like the money in the bank, they charged you to have it.
They charge you to have it there. Exactly. Yeah, and it's a different system. Like here in the US, like you build up a credit score. I'm learning about this right now.
You're starting at zero here.
Yeah, you start at zero and you need to have a lot of credit cards to sort of build up your credit score and pay them. And in Germany, like if you have too many credit cards, your credit score goes bad. You can't finance something. Like I have a friend, he just told me like he has a really high salary, like he's employed by a big company, blah, blah. And he wanted to finance his new laptop. And he couldn't do it because he has like 4 or 5 credit cards.
Yeah.
And some of them were company cards. But just the fact that he has 4 or 5 credit cards.
Right, he's irresponsible.
He's irresponsible. He couldn't finance a 2,000 euro laptop, which is crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways.
What would happen if you open up your closet, you're going through some old stuff, you find this suitcase, and it just has 1 million German marks in it?
Yeah.
Is it just paper? Or can you go and
you can still, I think, exchange marks somewhere, but you need to go to the central bank or something.
You can be like, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I just found this. I don't know where.
Because it must happen. It must happen.
I'm sure.
If they love cash that much.
I know, yeah. Some grandma somewhere in an attic has a suitcase with $1 million in there.
1 million marks, which is like 200 grand or
no, it's half. It's 500,000 euros would be 1 million marks.
So, 1,000 euros is 1 million marks?
No. Like it's just 1 million marks would be 500,000 euros.
Oh, 500,000. Okay, so but it's still money.
And of course, it's a lot of money.
So you can bring it and apologize, and they'll like.
I'm sure, like,
because I thought there was a deadline, and this is two people who know nothing about this.
Exactly.
But like, there's like you got to exchange it before we go euro.
I think there was a deadline.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So the people were stressed out because people that have a lot of black money that just made cash somehow in the cash business, they were stuck with the cash, and then they sort of had to change it. But then you couldn't change 1 million, obviously, because people would ask questions, of banks or governments or whatever.
Right. You should keep buying gum the whole year. But I heard that's why England didn't do it. They're like, we have too much do we have too much money off the books here? We're not declaring all this royal money and stuff.
That's why there's still the British pound there. It's crazy. Like if I forget when I go to England, to London, I'm like, damn, I need to exchange pounds, or like it's all in pounds. Like euros are worthless.
I sat at a cafe in London and I was getting a coffee. And I heard this couple just complaining about money and the pound. And it's just like, I love the pound, the word the pound. The pound doesn't do this anymore. And they're just complaining. And I'm like, maybe English people complain too, but maybe Europeans complain. Everyone complains.
Everyone complains if you really think about it. It's just some complain more than others.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to complain anymore, but this has been a good app where we previewed everything. We got our segments. We got our Joplyn.
Yes.
We're thanking you for blowing up the podcast. We're really happy with the numbers. Keep subscribing and liking. Our Spotify is #1. We're on the charts in Germany. Yeah. And
on the podcast charts.
On the podcast charts, the iTunes podcast charts. We're number 140.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Not bad. And by the time this comes out, I think we're going to be higher.
Yeah, let's see.
So we're going to hit the US charts. Yeah. We're in the music category. We're loving your support. We love the feedback. So comment, give us that 5-star like on iTunes. That's really important. And just keep listening and being a part of the journey.
And now watch the spinning logo.
Oh yeah, it's got to spin out, right? Yeah.